Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's your host, Raul Infante, here with Taking Dish Sports. Here with my co-host, Alexis Diaz.
What's going on, guys? What's going on?
Hey, so don't forget, guys, we're not only the guys that watch these sports, but we analyze them. So today, we're actually going to cover the Boston Celtics. For example, the breaking news of Marcus Smart, and we're also going to cover some of the flaws of what's going on in Boston. So go ahead, and Alexi, and start off with the Boston Celtics.
All right, so the Boston Celtics, they're heading to the playoffs. They're the number 4 seed, right? They almost won 50 games this season. Almost won, one game away. But the expectations this season was all over the place for a lot of people. Me, for one, thought this team could have won 55, 60 games, would have been competing for the number 1, number 2 seed. You know, have a great record at home, have a great record away, not losing to teams that are fighting for lottery positioning. And it's one of those things that a lot of expectations weren't met as a fan. Obviously, Gordon Hayward coming back from that injury was something that a lot of people were looking at. You added an all-star pretty much to the team that was already gelling so well last year in the playoffs. So a lot of people were expecting the Celtics to be this year's Milwaukee, this year's Denver Nuggets, a team that dominates, that's ahead of the pack, and that did not happen in Boston.
Yeah, I thought that the Boston Celtics were going to struggle at first, especially with what I said before in one of the prior videos, is that Kyrie Irving is in a contract year. He's going to try to ball out, and he's going to play more individual basketball, and we really saw that this year. You could see by his numbers. His numbers went up, but the team as a whole actually performed at a lower level than they did in the 2018 season. However, I am truly disappointed in how Jason Tatum performed. I thought he was going to have a great bounce back year. You know, he's one of those players that, you know, really performed well in the regular season last year with Gordon Hayward's injury and ultimately helped the team get where they got last year. Without him performing where they did, they wouldn't have gone to the Eastern Conference Championship, especially Game 7. You know, he balled out in the playoffs as well. So that's where I kind of saw that the team took a step backwards. I knew that it was going to take a second for Gordon Hayward to get back at it. We'll cover him when we talk about the playoffs. But those are a couple things that you know that I saw that stood out to me in this season. In the sense of the playoffs, start covering on your prediction.
So one thing about the playoffs that I really am hyped about to watch is how we have the players coming off the bench with the Marcus Smart injury. Marcus Smart, he tore his oblique, right? It was a torn oblique?
Torn oblique.
And he's out for, was it 1 or 2 rounds of playoffs?
They said 2 rounds.
2 rounds of playoffs.
2 rounds of the playoffs.
And the first round in the playoffs, we don't necessarily need him against Indiana because we match really well with Indiana. Indiana is a team that they're a slow-paced team. You know, they set their offense on half-court offense. So it's something where we match up very well. We're not going to need him in the first round because we also have the home court advantage. Against Milwaukee, if Milwaukee comes out, obviously, you know, they're the heavy favorites to make it to the finals. If I'm actually hoping that the 8th seed, whoever's the 8th seed, gives Milwaukee some competition. So that could extend some days off for Marcus Smart to rest because we will need everybody against Milwaukee.
Absolutely, and I just want you to cover real quick, you know, for those that haven't been paying attention to the NBA that closely, how many games are played at home? How many plays are played away?
All right, so the NBA actually brought this playoff format a couple years ago to make it fair for other teams, the teams with the lower record. So now the way that the playoffs are set, the schedule is you have 2 games at home for the higher seeded team, 2 games away for the lower seeded teams, and then the last 3 games are 1, 1, and 1. So you have 1 team at the highest seeded, 1 game at the highest seeded team, and then the second to the third final game will be against the away team.
So 2-2-1-1-1?
Exactly, 2-2-1-1-1 to make it a lot.
Okay, so, you know, I'll agree with you on that point. The Celtics are going to be fine without Marcus Smart. They're not going to be the same team. He's the heart of that team. He's the swag of that team. That guy, the way that he has produced offensively is not meant for a player to be a starter. But he's one of those guys that he shows up and he performs his heart out every single time he's on the court. He's the one Celtic that's constantly, you know, taking the charge, you know, outside of the paint. You know, he's one of those guys that is always going for the steal, always diving for the ball to save it from going out of bounds, whether that creates a turnover or not. You know, he just provides that spark that the team needs, especially with the younger players that seem to be demotivated and sometimes times when they create a turnover or miss a shot or something like that. Against the Pacers, the Celtics actually won 3 out of 4 games. The one game that they did lose, they were up. The Celtics were up by 2 points. The Pacers call a timeout, and Victor Oladipo drains that 3 with time expiring, and that's how the Pacers were able to win a game. Yes, the Pacers play hard. They do every single game. But if the Celtics are going to be the team of their word, and one thing this season is that they keep saying that they're going to bring the heart and soul in the playoffs. They better be ready to perform because the Indiana Pacers are not the best team in the NBA whatsoever. They've been struggling as of late, but they play hard every single minute. That's why you see a team like that, they could be down by 10 to 15 points. They'll still make a comeback. So that Marcus Smart injury is extremely, extremely crucial to see how the team is going to perform when they need that extra spark. In the sense of Milwaukee, that's really where it's scary. Marcus Smart is able to do a lot of things there. What's your specific take on what Marcus Smart could do in the Milwaukee series?
So to jump on like everything that Marcus Smart does for the Celtics, Marcus Smart, I look at him as the guard version of Ron Artest. You know why? He's a scrappy guy. He gets the points when it's needed, and he does everything else that nobody else does. He's the first one scraping his elbows on the hardwood, And one thing I love about Marcus Smart and this matchup against Milwaukee, let's count how many times Marcus Smart will take the post up against Giannis one-on-one. Let's see how many times he switches on Giannis and actually plays great defense against Giannis. That's one thing that's going to separate us from a lot of teams, is a player like Marcus Smart. And having him healthy is going to be really crucial for us to advance in the playoffs. And one thing I love about him that a lot of teams are envious is how you were saying. He can motivate the guys. He's one of those guys that he's going to yell at you in the bench, but it's to motivate you, not to demean what you just finished doing, not to call you out on the error that you made, but on how to improve on the next play so we could win the game.
Right, I have a similar take to that as well. That's what makes Marcus Smart special. You've seen him plenty of times in situations where, even a center like Joel Embiid would have the mismatch technically, but is it really a mismatch? This guy's like a tank, Marcus Smart. You see centers or bigger guys always try to back him up, and he just sizes those guys up, creates a turnover or creates misses. That guy's going to truly be missed. So at that point, Marcus Smart being out, who do you think is going to be the surprise for the Celtics in the playoffs?
So one of the guys that I really, really love, and is one of the guys that I've been hard on throughout the whole season, and it's going to be like, well, he is an all-star, is Gordon Hayward. With Marcus Smart being out, right, I could see a lot of the minutes being spread towards some of the guys from the bench, coming off the bench. And I think, because I know Jaylen Brown's going to be now as a starter, right? But I think Gordon Hayward is going to take it up the notch coming off the bench. The ball is going to go through him more. Well, obviously, Terry Rozier is our number one point guard off the bench, but Gordon Hayward is a phenomenal passer. He's a phenomenal passer, and I feel like it's going to be an opportunity for him to take over in some points throughout the games. When the bench is not scoring or it's something where we're at a stalemate, I think the Gordon Hayward that Boston signed, is going to show up in these playoffs. The past I want to say 6 to 8 weeks of the season, he's been improving, looking more confident, and he's shooting a lot better than he was at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, I was totally impressed by that game that he went 9 for 9 in the field goal and then 3 for 3 on his free throws. There's very few NBA players that could go a perfect field goal in the entire game and perfect free throws as well. Mm-hmm. So you could see that Gordon Hayward is trending in the right direction. The player that I think that is going to have to step up very drastically is actually Jason Tatum. Last year in the playoffs, he balled. The entire regular season, he balled, as I stated prior. The most impressive thing for Jason Tatum was how he was able to score the 18.5 points per game in the playoffs. Jason Tatum is most likely not going to do the same thing, but if he can even average 13 points per game like he did in the regular season of last year, it's going to be extremely helpful for the team. And Kyrie Irving is going to have to look at or think about the tapes of last year, how he was more of a ball distributor. You don't have Marcus Smart there running the 1 and Kyrie Irving running the 2. It's going to have to be Kyrie Irving running the one this time, and then facilitating the ball to the younger guys, similar to how they did last year. It's going to be similar also because Gordon Hayward's going to be coming off the bench. So that first unit right there is already going to have plenty of experience working with each other, especially having somebody like Gordon Hayward back at it again in the starting lineup. Al Horford a few games ago, I believe it was against Indiana, he was asked why they look so good playing together, him and Aaron Baines. And, they just said that they mesh well. Gordon Hayward was one of those players that feels more comfortable not having to play the center. He likes spreading the court, and that's what we got there on the Boston Celtics.
See, what I love about the Baines coming back from injury, it provides Al Horford playing in his natural position, which is the forward. I always said that Al Horford plays his best game when he's a power forward instead of a center, because he does way more than just grabs the rebounds. He's going to be a guy that I think is going to be second behind Kyrie with assists per game, because you're going to get playoff out. LeBron talks about, playoff activated. No, we're talking about Uncle Al playoff. The guy's going to average a triple-double, man. But it's going to be something where it's going to be really very interesting to see who steps up. There's a lot of players that are going to step up, but there's got to be one or two guys that's going to win us the games. Even if it's 15 minutes of hard play, even if it's a dive for a loose ball, there's going to be someone besides our starting five to step up to bring Boston to the next round of the playoffs. Hey, guys, take the time to like and subscribe, and please comment. And by the way, I did not say that Paul Pierce is better than Dwayne Wade. All I said is that if you remove LeBron from the big three in Miami, Dwayne Wade and Paul Pierce have the same career. Sorry, Twitter fans.
Hey, and don't forget to hit that bell button for more notifications. So, hey, leave that there. I'll let you handle that. We're actually going to move on to the defending World Series champions of 2018, the Boston Red Sox. They have started 3-9 so far this season. Nobody saw this coming. Alexis, can you start off with that?
So, yeah, definitely not. There was a lot of showboating in Boston with when we won it last year. And this is a new season, definitely. Last year was old news, was history. So this year we got to prove that, we could show that we have a chance to repeat. Sitting 3-9, I do not think that's going to be possible. I mean, I just think that this year's Sox are definitely not playing the way that they did last year. Last year, they came out the gate swinging. We signed Martinez, Mookie Betts, MVP, just killing it. And I think one of those things that's killing us this year is that I don't think our bats are showing up in any other games. I don't think that JD Martinez, he does have a few home runs so far, but, we're 12, 13 games in the season. Mookie Betts, I don't know what Mookie's bet's been. It's actually the guys that not that many people were talking about in the offseason that have been stepping up, like Mitch Moreland, Benintendi. I love Benintendi, man. He's such an awesome player. But I definitely think is our bats. We, you were mentioning off screen about how we let 15 runs against Arizona, But I definitely think it's going to be something where we need to see big improvements in our bats.
Yeah, I'm going to have to disagree with you on that one, and I'm going to say that it's actually not the offense, because the offense has been able to put a couple of games where they're scoring 7-8 runs a game. The first series against the Athletics, they punch you right in the throats, and what the Red Sox do, at least they made it competitive in the later innings. A lot of teams would have given up there. So my point is the starting pitching is actually the problem. It starts with your ace. Chris Sale is not the Chris Sale of last year before the injury, right? Chris Sale used to throw it 98 miles an hour and have a killer slider. This year, he actually threw his slowest fastball that he's ever thrown in his career, 89 miles an hour. However, there's one encouraging thing that I will say that Chris Sale was able to do, and it was in the home opener, he was able to throw at 95 miles an hour. So I'm going to stay optimistic here and hope that it's just a progression thing that they're doing with Chris Sale and not an actual injury. Everybody else also needs to produce as well. Nathan Eovaldi had his contract extension. He got beaten up. Eduardo Rodriguez can't pitch through the fourth inning. He's getting 3-run home runs because he can't find the strike zone after 3 innings. David Price is getting hit around. But like I said, I'm going to stay optimistic, and I think that this pitching staff is going to be able to figure it out. In the sense of the hitting, there's 2 players that stand out to me, and it is Jackie Bradley Jr. I've never been a big fan of Jackie Bradley Jr. offensively. Defensively, there's a reason why he's a Golden Glove. I feel like there was a few times that he should have won the Golden Glove besides last year. Jackie Bradley Jr. drives me crazy because he's a streaky hitter. You know, he'll have times where he's really hot, and then he'll go terrible times where he can't hit. He did that the entire season last season up until the playoffs, and he gets the MVP. And he can't act like people forgot, because true fans don't forget. I didn't forget. And the second player that stands out to me is Christian Vasquez. The two things about those two players is that they back to back. Jackie Bradley hits 8th. Christian Vasquez hits 9th. Maybe a solution that the Red Sox could look into is sliding somebody like Benny Bats into center field, or Mookie Betts into center field, put in Benintendi in right field, and put a J.D. Martinez in left field. J.D. Martinez is a natural outfielder. You know, you have Steven Pierce, right, the MVP of the World Series last year, and you have Mitch Moreland that's coming out hot, that already did a game-winning home run for you this season. You know, they're productive guys. They could swap off in first and DH, and then just remove Jackie Bradley Jr. I don't think that it's going to be that drastic of a change in the outfield if you take one of those guys out. And in the sense for the catchers, Christian Vasquez has been struggling this year. They struggled last year with Sandy Leon as well. You know, they were dead last in catcher production in the MLB, which is unacceptable for a championship team. You have a guy like Blake Swinehart on your bench that has shown that he has the ability to catch, play the outfield, and also is way better offensively and can produce a lot more than these guys. Blake Swinehart, you know, asked for a trade because he's not getting enough playing time. Get this guy in, remove Jackie Bradley Jr., and I think that'll help the offensive production. My biggest question to you this year is, are the Boston Red Sox going to be able to repeat this season, yes or no?
So I want to say it all depends on what moves do they make throughout the season. Depending on the way Alex Cora manages is depending how far we're going to get. Now, I'm kind of scared that Alex Cora has been very optimistic. Like, don't worry, we're going to get the hang of it. We're going to get the hang of it, right? We're going to say a month later, or probably 2 months later down the line, if we're sitting at a 500 record or below a 500 record, all this about just being mellow about the losing is going to bite him in the behind. Because what he's showing is pretty much that, I mean, there's certain ways you manage players. You know, you got some managers that are going to be in your face and some managers that are, you know, laid back, just telling you, hey, you got to improve this, you got to improve that. You know, I want to see Alex Cora, you know, actually show, hey, guys, come on. Let's get the head out of our gutter. Let's get some W's. You know, I haven't seen that from Alex Cora, not last year. I mean, he definitely defended the players against other teams, definitely. But like actually approach the players inside the clubhouse, we haven't heard any news of anything like that. Depending how this season continues, I want to see Alex Cora get on a few players' backs and like, all right, guys, let's get the ball rolling.
I don't want to hear depending. Tell me, are they going to repeat? Yes or no?
No. Sorry, Boston. No.
Listen, I'm gonna stay optimistic. I'm still picking the Boston Red Sox. They have 3 former Cy Young pitchers there. They have plenty of offensive talent. Mookie Betts is in a contract here. He's going to step up. So I'm taking the Boston Red Sox actually repeating. It's not bias. It's just facts. Hey, don't forget, guys, we're not only the guys that watch these sports, but we analyze them.
Hey, guys, thank you for tuning in.